If I said it yesterday, I'm gonna say it today. Men are men's worst enemy. Like, bar none, men are men's worst enemy. That's why when I come across content where men are like, man, what about us? The world is so hard on us. I'm always like, and? Like, not to sound cold, but I'm just like, I mean, you can just get up. Like, all men have to do is stand up, and the world would be completely different, right? So I don't want to hear men crying about it. I don't. I'm so tired. I'm so very tired of seeing this type of shit. Also, this is why, like, Scott Galloway is not it. Like, I didn't know much about him, and there's probably a time when I was like, oh, Scott Galloway is cool, but like the cat's out, like Scott Galloway is a piece of trash. These are terrible takes.
A man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. You can't tell women to lower their expectations, but this is the reality. When you ask a man if you could have a woman who had...
Out of curiosity, how are we quantifying a man of average attractiveness? He's stating this he is stating this as if this is a study that has been done. So I'm curious to know if anybody can answer me in the comments if they've heard about this study or whatever he's talking about. How did they quantify average attractiveness? Because I have a sneaking suspicion, knowing a little bit that I know about women, having my own personal interactions with women my whole life, I have a sneaking suspicion that most men aren't very attractive. The vast majority of men aren't very attractive, right? Which means, if we're grading on a curve, most men are attractive, if that makes sense, because most men aren't attractive. We're not comparing men to women. Women are significantly more attractive than men, right? But I'm saying when you compare men to other men, most men are fairly attractive. I would think. Like, if women are into men, they're going to be attracted to a man. Like, what do you mean of average attractiveness? Like, most women are of average attractiveness compared to other women, but it don't take women 200 swipes. You know what I'm saying? To get with the man. What's happening is, and this is what I believe. I think, because I'm not photogenic. I'm not photogenic at all. But what I think happens is there are certain people, men and women, but men in this particular case, that are good at creating profiles online. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think that creating a profile is an art. I don't think it's a science. I think it's an art. Well, it's probably a little bit of both, but I think it's mostly an art. There are people, because people talk about catfishing and all of that stuff. I know tons of people, men and women, but mainly women though. But I know tons of people though, that I know them in real life, and then I look at their pictures, and then I look at them in real life, and and it's not to say I look at them in real life and say they're ugly or they're catfishing, but I'm just like, they're just good at taking pictures. They're photogenic. They're not lying. They're just good at taking pictures. I'm not good at taking pictures. I'm gonna take a picture. It's gonna be a half a shadow on my face. I'm gonna look like I'm 40 years older. Like, I'm just not good at taking pictures. I'm not photogenic. You know what I'm saying? I'm, like Ye said, I know I look better in real life. You know what I'm saying? That's what I honestly feel. I feel like, oh, if you like me, if you like me a little bit on camera, you'll love me in real life. And that goes with my personality too. That's what I believe, right? But I'm confident in that way, I guess. And I feel like sometimes that confidence comes through. For whatever reason, there's something I cannot talk about it. So I cannot tell you what it is. But I hate the way that Scott Galloway and men of, of the what's it called? The red pill, because these are red pill talking points. These are red pill like talking points. The way he's framing it in a more intellectual way, right? Pseudoscientific way, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds plausible. But if you really think about it, you're like, what made them average, attractiveness? Like, how did we get there? You know what I mean? Like, where is this coming from? I don't know. It just all sounds weird, but to me, it's not a real thing. I just think that a lot of times men are just not good at creating these. Sorry. I just think men are not good, and people sometimes are just not good at creating profiles. That's it.
a man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. You can't tell women to lower their expectations, but this is the reality.
And why? So think about it. Think about it. He swipes 200 times. He gets 5, whatever, 5. That's what is that, like 2.5%? Out of every 200 swipes, if you get 5 dates, that's 2.5%. So he has a rate of 2.5% of getting a date, right? When he swipes. Then he gets 5 chances and he strikes out on 4. What does that say about the man? What does that say about the man? Like, that's what I'm not like. How this is crazy. What does that say about them acting like this is like, oh, woe is me? I mean, like, you got to feel for the average guy because no, he's just trash. The standards for the average man are just so low. Let's raise the standards for the average man. How about that?
To lower their expectations, but this is the reality. When you ask a man if you could have a woman who had 80% of everything you wanted, 75% say, yeah, I'm on board. Mm-hmm. When you say to a woman, a man has 80% of what you want, 75% say that's not enough. But even
so what? So fucking what? Because 80% of a woman is still going to make a man's life 100% better, but 80% of a man can make a woman's life 100% worse. That's why.
Percent say that's not enough. But even look at the media. What does the media tell a woman to do? He's out. But he didn't open your door. He's not nice to his parent. Walk right out on that man. Like, it's literally every piece of media is, you don't need him. You're a strong,
hyperbolic,
independent woman. Pull the ripcord.
Every piece of media isn't saying that because the media has been brainwashing women in this country since its inception that they need a man. The media is actually doing the exact opposite of what he's saying. That he can no longer talk from a place of like education the way he's talking right now. The media in general is telling women that they're independent. They're not. They're still selling women every kiss begins with K. They're still selling women diamond rings. They're still selling wedding packages. They're still selling honeymoon packages. What the fuck are you talking about? Disney is still pushing the princess narrative. Maybe not as much, but they still are. Like, what are you talking about?
Every piece of media is, you don't need him. You're a strong.
Every piece of media. Fuck out of here.
Independent woman. Pull the ripcord. You're out. The basic kind of communication around this is, you are a strong, independent, powerful woman. That is wonderful. And quite frankly, you don't need the imperfect man. They're just not connecting. I read that on Tinder, a man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. They will decide.
Why are you going out? Why are you going out for coffee? There you go, right? That's your problem right there. There goes your problem, Scott. 4 out of 5. So the men taking a woman out on 4 or 5 coffee dates. Oh, I can see why. You have to. There's only so many women that would tolerate a coffee date. Your words, not mine. So before, we're not talking coffee date. Then what the fuck are you talking in? Be more specific. Because these are your words, not mine.
Right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. They will decide they don't want to meet him or they won't show up. That means a guy of average attractiveness has to swipe right 1,000 times to get one coffee. Now, what does that tell that guy? Women don't.
That should tell that guy that women are very cautious about men because of the historical context, and that women that women are very cautious of men because of the nature of men, if you will. But it's really the history, the track record of men. The track record of men are that we are dangerous and that we are a threat to women. That's why. And that's the same reason why a woman won't settle for 80% of a man, because 80% of a man is fucking trash, because 100% man is still a risk for a woman. I just want you to know that, Scott. A man that checks off all the boxes is still a risk for a woman. Just so we're clear.
Attractiveness has to swipe right 1,000 times to get one coffee. Now, what does that tell that guy? Women don't value me. Women make me feel rejected. And then they go online and they see these misogynists telling them it's not your fault. And
You're the misogynist.
these men become much more prone to misogynistic content, much more prone to nationalistic content, blaming other people for the lack of economic opportunity. They start sequestering from society. I worry that we are literally evolving a new species of asexual, asocial male. And if a man by the age of 30 hasn't either lived with someone or married someone, there's a 1 in 3 chance he's going to have a substance abuse problem.
All of this sounds like man problem. I'm trying to figure out, who do you expect to solve this? All of this sounds like issues that men have created that men need to cure, right? He had no, I mean, and not in that video. I need to go watch the rest of the video, but as of now, he doesn't have a cure because he was being hyperbolic. He was blaming the media. He said every piece of media is saying this. Lies. Sounds like he doesn't have a solution. Sounds like he wants women to lower their standards. This is why women are steering clear of men. Look at what men are saying to other men. Women lose respect for men after they see them cry. Yeah. Men, and don't act like the thing about what Scott was saying that was so disingenuous is that Scott was acting as if the men are not already misogynistic, and then they become misogynistic by going online after they get rejected by women. No. The men are already misogynistic. They get rejected by the women because of their misogyny. And then they dig deeper and go deeper down the rabbit hole of misogyny and become red pill and radicalized. That's the cycle. But they're already misogynistic, though. That's crazy to act like they're not, because men have been telling men shit like this way before the red pill was a concept. Look at what men are saying. Look at what men are saying, right? You guys can see I got this from Red Pill Community. It says things to remember when dealing with women. This is what men are telling other men. So all that boo-hooing, that fake, men got it so rough. Yeah, because of men. Yeah, we're the problem. 1, women hide their insecurities through their beauty. Okay. 2, women are attention-seeking creatures, referring to women as creatures. It lies. Women aren't attention-seeking creatures, but whatever. 3, always be relaxed and have a good time with women. Don't rush into a relationship. I mean, okay. I'm okay with you not rushing into a relationship. That's cool. 4, don't be responsive to women. I'm going to read that again. Don't be responsive to women. I'm going to read that one more time for the Scott Galloways of the world. The men are the media. I'm going to read it one more time. Don't be responsive to women. Let me read it how it's supposed to be written. How this is what the inference is. Men, don't be responsive to women. Wow. Okay. Number 5, always be willing to push women away. Not always be willing to leave a woman who infringes and oversteps your boundaries, which seems healthy to me. Never be afraid to lose a woman or a person, right? You have to, you know what I'm saying? I think the fear of that sometimes, or most of the time, leads to some form of abuse or some self-harm, right? Because you're like so afraid to lose a person. But no, never be afraid to choose yourself over that person when that person is harming you. That's what, I'm fine with that. But saying always be willing to push a woman away, which is a game, that's deliberate. You're deliberately pushing a woman away. Problematic as fuck. This page, this Red Pill Community, if I'm not mistaken, it had like 30,000 followers. It had 30,000 followers or more. 30,000 followers are consuming this content. Minimum 30,000. But I'm in here. I haven't joined it, but I'm in here right now. So I'm 30,001, and I know I ain't the only other one. You know what I'm saying? Don't text too much. Fair enough. Fine. Right? Don't be pushy. I can respect that. I don't think that that's what they mean, but I can respect not texting too much. Too much anything's bad. 7, always be willing to walk away from a relationship. That is more healthy. Saying always be willing to push women away versus always be willing to walk away from a relationship are two completely different things. Two completely different things. I can understand number 7, don't understand number 5. Number 8, focus on your goals instead of your relationship. Why wouldn't your relationship be a part of your goals? Making your relationship as healthy as possible. Shouldn't that be a part of your goals? Number 9, when dealing with women, always keep your goal in mind. Sex. Now, this is a bit of a contradiction, if you ask me, right? Because right here it says, focus on your goals instead of a relationship. And then it says, when dealing with women, always keep your goal in mind. Sex. Well, I guess not. I guess they're saying, I mean, it doesn't contradict itself because technically you can have sex with a woman and not be in a relationship with her, which that's what this is preaching. 10, walk away from a woman who doesn't respect you. Fair enough. Fair. Now, again, I fear to question what they deem to be disrespectful, but fair enough. 11, relationship is a woman's duty. A man's duty is to provide. Okay. So for any unsuspecting man that has come across this content and you are consuming this for the first time or fifth time or 50th time, and you read that and that made sense to you, let me sit you down and hold your sticky ass hand with the napkin in between. That the relationship is the duty of everybody in the relationship, because you can have a relationship with 15 people and it be the duty of everybody in there. But this is a relationship between 2 people, right? It is definitely your duty. So logically, if you read this, right, there's so many ways to interpret this, and there's so many ways that this is problematic easily, right? But there's one simple way. So basically, as long as I'm making money, I can ignore the woman. I can physically abuse a woman. I could cheat on the woman. I can do whatever I want to do as long as I am financially providing for her. Okay, fair enough. Oh my goodness. Number 12, during the walk, keep your shoulders and chest relaxed. Walk like James Bond. Jesus Christ. Who wrote this? An 8-year-old? 13, talk to women with purpose. Fair enough. 14, demand respect from women. If she doesn't give you that, walk away. You've already said that. And number 10, walk away from a woman who doesn't respect you. You're being redundant. Number 14 is dumb, though. Demanding respect is dumb. You should command respect, not demand it, I think. I don't know. Because I think demand would imply that you have to like articulate it. But if you command it, you can just kind of command it with your presence. You know what I mean? With your behavior, you can command respect. So I would say command respect, not demand it, but whatever. Women gatekeep sex, men gatekeep relationships. But he just said that the relationships are the duty of the women. It doesn't make any sense. And those two things go together, by the way, like people, sex and relationships. Never tell a woman you like her. How do you expect to have sex with a woman if you don't tell her you like her? Oh, you guys stress me out. This is scary. 17. 17 says, always have a buyer mentality when talking to a woman. Let her sell herself to you. Lord Jesus. Or always have a recruiter mentality when talking to a woman. Let her convince you need her. Okay. Let her convince you why you need her for the job. And 18 again, even though that was 18, never trust her words. Trust her actions. Yeah, brother. that right there, that type of content is precisely that thought process, that train of thought, that ideology, whatever you want to say, that is precisely why men struggle dating women. That is also precisely why even a man that is on the surface 100% meets 100% of a woman's needs, that woman is still taking a risk because that man can change and that man can be masking, which men often do.